Even I too have one meeting.
Okay. So we'll close at 9. So from yesterday, he gives some examples now. How to recognize samadhi, meaning how to recognize whether you are in savikalpa samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi. We are talking here the nirvikalpa samadhi. So first one we have already known, that is rope and snake. So etat tritayam drishtam samyak rajju swarupa Vijnanat tasmat vastu satatvam gnatavyam bandhamuktaye vidushaha. So these three results are well grasped by fully understanding. Hi Srihari, good morning.
Good morning, Vela. Good morning, all.
Morning, Shayana.
Morning.
Srihari, after
Vela,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I will be disconnecting at 9 o'clock. There is a PA conclusion meeting.
I know that I am also joining, so I am also
Okay.
Okay, don't worry.
Okay,
So we'll close at 9. Okay, so Srihari, after this shloka, we are going to go through your question. So, tasmat vastu satatvam gnatavyam bandhamuktaye vidusha. So the thing is, even if we were to understand that there is no person, it is just a role, and when the person comes, we all have the same body, same structure, except height and weight and color and all that. Apart from that, we all look the same. There is no difference on how we see it. That means we are treating it to be a snake while it is just a rope. So if we are able to see that, the body feeling goes away. And when we see the mind, it keeps on changing based upon situation. So if we were to give up, or the mind were to get cleaned of impressions, then what happens is the swarupa is shown, which is nirvikalpa. There is no imagination. So just like office is imagined and everything else is imagined, that doesn't mean that they don't have to be like that. It is created by the mind, so it can exist. So when we engage in the world outside, so-called world outside, what we do is we just play the role, whatever has been given to us, but not take it seriously as myself or something like that. So that will remove the false understanding. The understanding here is that there is a real person over there. Just like if you were to look at yourself in the mirror and touch the hair. Hair is not you, eyes are not you, ears are not you. Like that, if you keep on touching each part, you will find that there is no you in any one of these parts. So this is one practice which will show for itself that only the movement is happening, whereas you don't exist. All joined together can be called as you, but then there is no you. So I can't say this is my hair, because there is no me in that hair. So if the hair falls, that means me also is gone. So which is ridiculous way of talking. So let's say I have gone to urination and it is my urine, so then me also goes along with the urine then. So we can see this is just a language than anything else, and so language has symbolism and all of those kinds. So it is good to have, because that's how we can identify, and we require to identify for transactions. So when we are doing transaction, we need to do that. So just go to the office, do the work what is required, use the knowledge what has been gained through our learning from kindergarten to PhD. So the mind is able to apply all that smriti what he has, that is the memory. So then it is coming back. So once it comes back, there is nothing. So there is no office. The office is gone forever till we go back to the office. And then there is family. So when there is family, there is no office. When there is office, there is no family. And this we can see it clearly. That means when there is a rope, there is no snake, and when there is a snake, there is no rope. So when we come to the home and look at our family problems, then the office is completely removed. But when we are addressing the office work, the family is removed. But the mind thinks that it is doing on both, but it wouldn't. It is only one at a time. So this shows that we can be in samadhi, or you need not be in samadhi. So when we are engrossed in transactions, we are not in samadhi. But we are not, if we are not engrossed in transactions, but they're just doing transaction as transaction, then the person is always in samadhi. So this is the first shloka, which talks about how to identify that whether you are in samadhi or not. Yeah, Shri Hari, you had a question, so let us take that.
No, some of the question is mostly, I think you covered here, the transaction part. So when in the earlier day, the other day, you mentioned about the I part, where it's all about the language, and then slowly it has to be removed. But on the day-to-day activities, maybe it is office or the personal thing. So that I part is somewhere needed to continue the transactions.
Yes, it is required.
Yeah.
It is very much required. Because that is part of the language. So I can't say I don't want to use I at all. That is foolishness. So for making the words, we have to use the I and you. So first person, second person, third person have to be used. But what one needs to know, or what I need to know, is there is no first person, there is no second person, there is no third person. It's only consciousness. There is nothing else other than consciousness.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it needs a lot of practice in day-to-day to get to that stage where everything is considered as samadhi, and then
Yes. So the thing what I had used about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, if you can apply it, the 5 things, if you can apply it, let's say we are going to have a meeting at 9 a.m. So if you were to apply it, so you could apply it in this way. So first one, there is measurement. So when we meet up in the meeting, everybody is going to measure up something or the other. But that we are measuring the project or the outcome or what we can deliver or something like that within the 3-month cycle. That's what we are trying to measure. We are not trying to measure the person. There is no person being measured. But it seems in our mind that we are measuring the person instead of measuring the project outcome. Then, so if we are able to stay in that project outcome rather than a person, then you are in samadhi. Okay. Then viparya, hallucination. So that means, why do I hallucinate? Because there is a person who is gaining or losing in the project. So when there is when we call something as a stakeholder, that means there is some stake. Stake means something to lose or something to gain. So all that we are trying to do is to gain, but there is loss also. So loss of not completing the project, or loss of name and fame and all of that, or loss of promise or gain of promise, or etc. So they both can happen, and that seems to be coming to the person because the effort is put by the person. So again, if we are able to remove that person equation and just put effort, it doesn't matter who is putting effort, whether you put effort, I put effort, or the team puts effort, it really doesn't matter. It is ultimately effort. It's effort driven. So without effort, nothing can be gained. So there is no hallucination now, because there is no measurement as a person. It's just an effort. So the team puts effort, and the team is a team consisting of people, which is stakeholder. Then there is no imagination, vikalpa. So that is what we are talking about. So there is vikalpa in the sense that one in the worldly sense we have vikalpa, another one in spiritual sense also, or the dharmic sense. So this imagination, either you imagine a God being there and you start praying to it or doing something about it, or you if we put it in the worldly life, we go by all the learnings we have done and all the project to be real. A building project or this project or that project, everything is treated as real, and then you are putting effort to complete it. So nothing in this can be developed without imagining it. So if somebody were to imagine a house, he has to first draw the house. So there should be a drawing board. Like that, every product comes in that way. Again, if we stop imagination and just look at what it is, you are in nirvikalpa, without imagination. Okay, so pramana vipareya vikalpa, nidra, that sleep. So when I'm lost in something, I'm actually sleeping. I have no idea what is happening anywhere. So let's say I'm writing an email and I'm thinking about what should I write. At that time I'm in sleep to the outside world. In the same way, I don't know who I am, so I go to sleep, and then there ends the matter. So that is the sleep, nidra. So if somebody were to wake up completely or woken up, then he's sleeping to the world but is awakened from inside. So nidra smritayah, smriti is memory. So if you take the memory as such, we have two kinds of memories. One, the worldly memory, what we have learned from our kindergarten age to, let's say, PhD. All that we have done is coming from our memory system. So the neurons keep on firing because there is connectivity, there is a synapse, and then we can able to relate, or the mind is able to relate through the brain movement. So the electrical impulses which are coming will connect to those respective receptors, and then the memory is gained. So the better the memory, the better it is to execute certain projects or programs or work or technology or whatever it is. So we can apply. Then the second memory is what we are doing. So we are going on the so-called spiritual route and we are remembering whatever it is. So both memories create remembrance. Now what if for a second you were to stop this memory from arising, which is the vritti, that is movement, and it just stays there? What happens? The you is gone. So pramana, viparya, vikalpa, nidra, smritaya, all these five can be an obstacle by itself, or all the five can lead to liberation. So when we talk about liberation, it means that the smriti exists, but is not used for either of the side. One thinking that I know a lot of scriptures, or one thinking that I know a lot of technology and product and all that. It's just you're watching. So that becomes a sakshi bhava, that is a witness. So the becomes drig. In that everything is moving. So when I see my mother, I am seeing the memory of the mother, not the mother. Because the mother whom I had seen when I was born is totally different than what she is today. In fact, I don't have a mother right now. But still, if I were to say, it would be 4 years ago when I had seen her. So what am I seeing is only the body moving, or the body getting aged and coming out of it. But there was no mother, except for the jivi was called as a mother. So when I say my mother is dead, what I am saying is that the body is not able to move anything further than what I had seen, so it is gone. And the jivi, that being which was playing the role of mother, no longer is accessible. So when I can see it in this way, what happens is it looks like a drama scene. So the person is taken into the drama or to a movie, and when the work is completed, he leaves that drama or the movie and he goes off, or he or she goes off, and the movie ends, something like that. So this five way of looking is what Patanjali talks about, and the same thing is there in Vivekachudamani. So if we are able to let go of these impressions in the mind by cleansing these naming conventions and the personality is what we create, then your mind becomes very pure. It reflects what is there in consciousness. So, any questions? Otherwise, we go to the next shloka.
We can go ahead.
Okay, so 350, he talks about what to do with intellect, because that is as unreal as anything else, but it makes itself real. So he give ayah agni yoga tiva sat samana vayat matradi rupena vijrimbate dehe dihi tat karyam etat dvitiyam yatah vrisha drishtam brahma swapna manoratheshu. So the relationship between the consciousness and the intellect goes like this. Just like a piece of iron, when in contact with fire, manifests fire. So there's no difference between fire and that iron. They both look the same. You can't really not make out any distinction. In the same way, mind consisting of mind, which is the container, then buddhi, which is the intellect, which shines on that container. Then it has ego. So when the container itself calls that I am, then the chitta, the light, which is given to the intellect. So when seen like this, it doesn't have any differentiation between the consciousness, which is the fire, and the iron, which is the mind. There is no gap. So sat samana vayat. Sat is the truth, which is the consciousness, and when it is connected, it looks exactly the same. So there is no way one can say I am not the mind, I am the consciousness, because they both have I am. So only the gap is not there. So by practice we are able to see the gap. Matradi rupena vijrimbate dihi. In the form of the knower and the known does the intellect manifest itself. So in some cases the intellect says that I know this. In some cases it says that I am this. So I'll give an example. Father. I am the father. In some cases it says that I know what father does. But slightly scratching the surface, we come to know that nobody knows what father does, because there is no job description for what is father. Number one, there is no universal way of evaluation about the father. Year by year the father is evaluated, and a kind of appraisal is done with some numbers. Even that way to be done, it is still subjective. So that very clearly shows that it is false. But sometimes it says that I am this. Like if a person falls on the ground and his leg or her leg is injured, what does he say immediately after getting up? He will or she will say, my ankle got twisted. He doesn't or she doesn't say that I am the ankle, because there is pain. So intellect automatically disassociates with the pain. It doesn't associate. So there's a pain in the ankle. So what I'm going to say is that I twisted my ankle. If I was there in the ankle, or if I was there in the whole body, how did I allow the ankle to get twisted? This question nobody will ask. But now I am going to express and say that, look, I twisted my ankle and it is pain. This is, let's call it as A, and let's call it as B. I am receiving Padma Shri award from President. Who is receiving? Head is receiving, body is receiving. Who is receiving? So when there is pleasure, the intellect takes it for itself. Drishya. So this intellect has some funny characteristics. When there is pain, it disassociates. When there is pleasure, it associates. So whoever goes and collects the award of Padma Vibhushan or Padma Shri, what is happening? A medal or something or is garlanded on the head, not to the person. All the people who have got Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan or Olympic Games or this, or even in the office or whatever awards and rewards and all that ever known to human being, has been given to the head. He bends his neck and then they put some garland or something over there, and he removes it and they give some flower bouquet and they give a certificate, and that certificate is put in a nice let's say with glass and wood and all that, and then it is given. But where it is that this person has received an award or reward, where is that person? It's not there. So intellect is very funny. When there is pleasure, it takes for itself. When there is pain, immediately it disassociates. So if somebody is running for a marathon and then he is not able to do it, he say that I tried my best, but my knee or my leg or my back or whatever is did not support. So this is a very not an ideal situation. So the intellect manifests it in this way. So tat karyam etat dvitiyam yatah mrisha. These two, knower and known, are the effects of the intellect and hence unreal. This we can see it happening all the time. If there is an appreciation, intellect takes it. If there is depreciation, it puts the blame on something else. It either puts the blame on its own body. Let's say when I went to the dentist and the dentist said that, look, you have spoiled your gums, and then I asked him, okay, what did I do? He said, you have not brushed properly for many years. You are brushing very harsh or hard. Okay, now what should I do? Do it in a better way. Take a soft brush and do it. Okay, done. Now, whenever somebody asks me, why did you visit the dentist? What I'm going to say? I'm going to say, I wanted to show my teeth. That is how we need to use language, but in the mind also, the intellect will make that happen. So it becomes my teeth, and that teeth is very important to me. As though nobody else have teeth and only I have the teeth. So when somebody or when the dentist were to acclaim and say that, wow, what a teeth you have maintained it very well, what happens? That whole appreciation is taken by the intellect. Look how nicely I have maintained my teeth. So this is unreal. Drishtam Brahma Swapna Manoratheshu. as we observe them to be in the state of delusion, dream, and imagination, both state, painful and pleasurable state, are delusion oriented because they really don't exist in that way, and are a dream in swapna, and imagination manoratha. So because of this, I get formed, and because I get formed, it is Maya. So let us end here. 4 more minutes to the meeting. Any questions?
So this shloka says Ayogni Yogadi. It says that this iron piece, if you put it in Agni, initially that will become red. You can differentiate Agni and this one. If it is there for long inside that fire, and we can't differentiate whether that is iron or something else.
Correct.
Isn't it? That's what it says.
Correct. So when intellect is there, you cannot make a distinction between the consciousness and the intellect.
So Jada Vastus, when it is there with this with the Paramatma or this Brahman, Jada Vastu also gives a feel that it is Paramatma.
Correct.
That means our Deha.
Correct.
So example, it clearly says, so Jada Vastu is different, and don't go behind that it is Paramatma. That means when you look at a person, don't see that person as a person.
Correct.
It is just Jada Vastu, his body.
Correct. Absolutely.
And mind is also Jada Vastu, right? Here in this case.
Both are Jada Vastu. That is why, see, I gave an example, right? When there is pain, it will disassociate. When there is pleasure, it takes by itself. All the appreciation, it takes it. But when there is depreciation, then it will pass it down to somebody else, or it will pass it down to its own part of the body.
Yeah, it's equivalent to the moment the Brahman is away from this body. It is just, we call that as it.
Correct.
Him has become it. Body.
Correct.
Then you want to immediately dispose that.
No, as soon as the person dies, what do they say? When is the body coming?
Correct.
Nobody says that when is he coming
Yes.
or she is coming. They say when is the body coming.
So that means when people are alive also, you have to see them like exactly equivalent after death to what happens same.
Exactly. If you do
Body part.
yes, then you are in Brahman. Otherwise, we are in Brahma, not in Brahman.
Brahma Loka, right.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vilas.
Thank you then. Yeah, thanks. See you. Bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.